you're working on a shorter swing, and let's assume that you've said, all right, I can't control this, I have bigger muscles, I like to fire my body, and you say a long swing is not acceptable to do that, and you're working on something that's more like this, well, give yourself a head start. Push and start right here with the right foot off the ground, and go ahead and make about a 3/4 backswing with a full turn, and go ahead and hit it. Just like that. And then what you can do is speed it up a little bit, and if you speed it up, and it feels very good, I mean, it feels solid at impact, but you can see I'm here, I'm back, and there I am going through it. And you can see that the pace of the swing, I hardly felt any backswing, but that's what it feels like when you shorten up. It's got to be short and quick. Body's got to go ahead and respond to that. You look at Nick Price, short and quick, everything works together. I've always said I think there's 3 things that could kill the game of golf. 1, high prices. 2, slow play. 3, intimidation of the game of golf, the intimidation of learning. And if you're out at home and you're watching the show, or you've been watching, and you think you need to be a perfect golfer to enjoy the game, you know, don't let that happen to you. I want you to understand that you can go out the way you look and you can grow as a golfer. You don't have to be this perfect model golfer. And it really brings me up for one thought here. I mean, this is something we see all the time, Brett. We see people get set up to it, and we see them rock their right hip off the ball. We see their right knee get like jello. But you know what? That kind of reminds me of a guy that's played really well. Colin Montgomery actually moves his right hip to the side, but you know what Colin does? He moves right on back the other way and he hits it. If you're a player that's plagued with that, obviously we'd love to stabilize your lower. We'd love to keep your weight inside the right and push off. But if, you know, what are you going to stay in hibernation for about 3 or 4 months before you figure that out, before you go to the golf course? If you're moving this way and you're aware of it, and you feel like you're rolling this way, well, you just better roll the other way again. And then you can make contact and you won't get stuck back behind it. Let's show a couple other examples. Brett.
Yeah, I think another one is, you know, you talk about there's the lower body sway with the Monty, that you got to make sure that you do come back, but then you look at the opposite, which is the upper body sway, and you look at guys like, you know, Lee Jansen and Curtis Strange come straight to mind.
Won a few opens with that.
Yeah, with a head movement that went this way. And I think the key is when you do move back, you better move the upper body forward so it can recenter or stack on top of the lower body. The problem is, what we see at our schools is when we do get someone that does move back, then they tend to stay back too much and they don't recenter themselves back to the golf ball. So, you know, it's fine to see what a model golf swing is, but, you know, can we be that model? We need to look at what we do, but the other factors that can turn a successful golf shot into, you know, making it work.
Well, I think a lot of people just say, you know, it's too hard to do this. I don't want to do this. I think that's when you have to say, well, hey, sometimes things are tough. To make things better, nothing's easy about it. But the point is, there are compensations. And are we saying we want you to go out there and be this way? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if you do this, you better do that. And that ultimately it boils down to you really want to be in a good impact condition. Yeah. No different than this person here that stays on top of the golf ball like this because they don't want to move off the ball. I see this all the time. And from here, what is the kiss of death would be moving out in front of that golf ball. So if you're one that, you know, would we like you here? Yeah, that'd be wonderful. But what happens if you're one that just stays right here? Well, just stay right there back and don't let yourself go in front. You may hit some shots that may be a little higher. You may hit some shots that may be a little indifferent at times, but the bottom line is you have to make things work and match up. You know what it boils down to? It's matching up, and it's no different than some of the players we see, that if you're a player that's been fighting this inside takeaway, well, Raymond Floyd used to whip the club to the inside, and he'd go into this lift, and coming down, that golf ball had no idea that he took the club to the inside.
Exactly.
Same way going back. I mean, we see people that go out. If you go out, you better not come down on the outside, or you're going to hit a pull or a big slice or a top or a pop-up with the driver.
Yeah.
The other thing that holds true as well, if you're a slicer of the golf ball, tee your ball down low. And go ahead and tee it down low, because what's this going to do? It's going to accommodate a steeper angle down. If you teed it up high, hey, in training, we want to shallow that arc out, and we want to tee it up high, and we want to catch it on the upswing. Well, you don't have that grooved yet. You're set up open, and you're coming down steeply, and you want the ball forward as well. You don't want to put the ball back in your stance. If it's back in your stance, you won't hit it at all. So you're hitting low cuts, and you're playing, and you're hitting it right in the middle of the fairway. It's amazing some of the swings that we see that actually are efficient, and they actually hit it down the middle of the fairway.
Exactly. That brings me to another point. Let's talk about what the arms can do.
Sure.
You know, we see a lot of people in our golf school that can go really wide, that could be late setters even if they do set their wrists at the top, but what they do is they'll go wide back because I've been told take it low and wide and stretch, but then they stay wide coming down. There's no wrist cop retention coming down, there's no penetration on the golf ball.
Well, go ahead and show us what that looks like.
Yeah.
Wide and there. I'm glad I got out of the way. Brett, how about the other scenario? We see a lot of people that get to the top here and they're very bent in their arms, and obviously they're as narrow as they can get. The one thing they have to do is widen coming down so that they can hit it. So the point is their arms have to be extended at impact. They can't go in there with their arms all bent up.
Yeah.
How about the other players? Paul Azinger, you see a lot of great players with the face of the club pointing skyward, which is shut due to grip, due to takeaway, due to top of swing variation. What do? They've got to work their bodies hard and fast and rotate, and their arms have to extend. They still have to keep their arms in front of their body, but they have a little different action with their forearms through the golf ball. Same thing goes with the face that's wide open due to grip, due to a cupping at the top. That person does this and they're dead. The ball's going right, so they need to slow their body down and get their forearms to work. I've seen a lot of people play a lot of different ways. You have too. The point is, you got to have some fun playing the game. And maybe you were encouraged by this show because you don't have to be this perfect model. I want you to have fun. I know we keep working with you to try to do that. Hopefully you learned something. I want to thank Brett. I want to thank Treetops. It's great to be with you.